Halito, Chumachukma.
Osio, Taishu, Shidanalai, Sikan. And how are you?
I'm doing really well. It's been a very long time. So welcome back to everybody.
Yeah, I've been missing you guys. And
Yeah.
especially you ladies. And I got a barky dog back there.
Yeah, she's a lady too.
Mhm.
So we unfortunately did not have our intro that we usually have you all. So let me kind of explain what has been happening and why we've been away for a while. One, my day job that I have, because I have to have a survivor job, we got acquisition to a big major company, and so I've been quite busy with that transformation, going from one thing to the other. And then also my laptop died. So unfortunately, part of what happened when my laptop died, so did our intro. So I have to recreate it, unfortunately. But I'm glad to see all of you all. Hello, Jamil. Hello, everyone from the Red Road East. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We have missed everybody, truly.
Yes, yes. I really didn't miss everybody.
Yep, he did.
So, without anything to do on Wednesday nights, and I said, wait a minute.
You
We will.
bothered me to no end.
Mhm.
But before we start, and we can talk about our evening this evening, we do need to do our land acknowledgement. So let's do our land acknowledgement very quickly. Let me go ahead and start with that. Let's pause a moment to acknowledge the traditional stewards of the lands that we reside on, and especially their ancestors, descendants, and all indigenous people who live now and have ever lived on this land that we call Turtle Island.
And happy Indigenous Peoples Day to all of us. Monday, we will be celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day in Washington, D.C. And any of you that are watching will be right behind the National Museum, the American Indian, down in Washington, D.C., on the National Mall. And Leslie's going to be there with us. My goodness, Spike Moss is going to be there. Arthur Red Cloud, and also a member of the Northern Alaska tribes, the Inuits. It's going to be a bunch of folks there. So, and Pete Landeros, who is the Northeast director of the American Indian Movement, my nephew, he's going to be there. So come on down and join us. We're going to have drummers and dancers and singers, and we're going to really make it an Indigenous Peoples Day.
We want to say that we are actually speaking at an event hosted by the American Indian Society. So if you do not know who they are, it's AIS. Go and find them on your on
Google.
Google. They do have a webpage. So yes, go and support them and find them. And please join us. We'll be there from 2 to 5 o'clock p.m. on Monday.
Absolutely. Okay, so shall we get started? We got two very, very interesting guests. One has been a friend of mine for years, and now I got another friend of mine since today.
Yes, so we're going to add them to the stream. Here we go. Hi. Just in by the seat of her pants. January. Yagonine. Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to say it right. Please say your name for us again. Yakowine. Yes, Yakowine. Yeah. Yes, Oaks. So one of the things that we came here to talk about is actually Yakowine has to leave to go in a few minutes and everything, but we kind of wanted to acknowledge what she's doing within the community here in the East Coast, and then explain why we're all together today to discuss this awesome play that January wrote. So I'm going to put you in full mode so you can just kind of give everybody a little background on who you are and introduce yourself. Here we go.
Sure. Sego, Sewabuego. Welcome to the Northeast, at least through the interwebs where I'm at. My name is Yakowihine Oaks. That means she gathers and organizes people, which is a name that was given to me by clan mothers. I am the Snipe clan. I am Mohawk of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. I am the Executive Director of the North American Indigenous Center of New York. And I think there's a class coming in, right? Yeah. Oh no, okay, I'll be right out. I'm getting kicked out, sorry y'all. I'm the Executive Director of the North American Indigenous Center of New York. It is a Native women-led and centered nonprofit organization committed to Indigenous empowerment through cultural continuance, intersectional equity, and advancement of economic justice for Native nations, communities, and peoples living in and beyond the boundaries of New York City, New York State, and the Northeast. I try to be all inclusive of Indian country, and also do a lot of work with Indigenous folks from south of the border and obviously from north of the border, being that I live right on the border of Canada. So yeah, I'm gonna stop there for now, and I'm gonna find a new location.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and I'll pull you out so she can go ahead and do that. And then January, let's have you kind of introduce yourself to everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. Sego, everyone, and thanks for having me on. Yeah, hi, on the program again. I just drove in. I'm Mohawk Tuscarora and I live on my home territory of Six Nations of the Grand River. And I'm currently the writer in residence at Western University, and that's where I just drove in from. It's like a 90-minute drive up the 401, and I can't believe I made it here in record time. I did follow the speed limit to some degree, so I'm just happy to be here and to help kind of promote the festival and like this, what I'm calling like this revival of Indigenous theater and the Indigenous theater community that I saw happen over the weekend at the Northeastern Native Arts Festival. And, it was so good to see this community come together, because there was a lot of people who have been in that community for many, many years, many people who established that community, and then the new voices and the new talent coming in as well. But so that's what I do. I'm a playwright as well as a poet, and was really, really very honored to have, one of my very first plays that I've written in a long, long time, have some space with the Northeastern Native Arts Festival in West Village in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah.
January, you are still as pretty as I remember you from years ago. Beautiful sister. Yeah.
Hi, Ramon. How are you? Welcome.
Hello. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
So Yakowine, she's going to find a new place to stay, but we're to broadcast with us. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the play itself, and why you wrote the play. So the play was a very interesting play. It was a short reading, a short play. So it was a stage reading of that play. So it was kind of like we were trying it out for the audience. And what would you say that it got a very good review from audience? A lot of people it's a very interesting play, by the way. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I don't mind you using that word interesting, because I think part of what makes the play interesting, which is called Bloodsport, and the premise of the play is having a little look and a little laugh about all of the pretend Indian issue that seems to be kind of like, burgeoning up within our communities now. The conversation around pretend Indianism is having quite a moment in our communities now. And it just is so interesting that this play came into being at a time when, there's lists being published and as we speak with names of folks who are being, called out about, kind of claiming the identity that they probably don't have any right to claim. But anyway, as a means to kind of like address that, I thought it would be good medicine to kind of put it into a satirical scenario of a game show. So, kind of it's called Bloodsport. So, we have the whole narrative takes place in this game show setting where there's a couple of contestants who are kind of vying for the right to claim their Native identity. And Leslie Fry, who's here, part of this beautiful podcast, did an amazing job playing what we call the ref. And the ref in this in this play is the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-being creator character. And Leslie arrived in her angelic white outfit and laid the rules down and then changed the rules throughout the context of that narrative. So it was meant to be funny, but in that time, it's also really valuable to lay some lessons on the people too. There's nothing wrong with that.
Can I say something?
Of course, Jay.
All of you out there that are watching us tonight, eat your hearts out. I got 3 beautiful Native women, and they are my sisters.
Yeah, man.
Eat your heart out. I think Miss Oak's not there anymore. What happened?
She probably had to go. We'll have her come back again. Yeah. So actually, this is us actually reading, and we had some really wonderful actors reading the play. From, let's see who everybody is from left to right, I guess, from right to left. Okay, we have Drew Woodson.
Okay.
Leslie J. Fry.
Mm-hmm.
Kylie White Turner. And Dylan Carasona.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew who it was. I'm like doing too many things at the same time in the background. Dylan Carasona. I wanted to make sure I said his name right because he made sure that everybody knew how to say his name. Sounds like Arizona. So yes, this is the production. What I really loved about reading this play, and it is funny, is the fact that it does address some of the things. And I think that Drew's character, who is the young man that's on, if you're looking at the video right now, he's on everybody's left, I suppose. He did it so well. He did it so well because it was someone who found out he had an indigenous identity, but he wanted so badly to prove that he was indigenous that there was some question as to if he was or not. And I'm not going to say anything about if he is or if he isn't, but the way that he played it is very typical of what we mostly confront these days when it comes to people who say they have indigenous identity.
And that was part and parcel of what really happens in community, and I'm kind of like in this play, I really wanted to address this issue that happens in educational institutions, but also the arts institutions as well. So which is predominantly where we see folks with kind of confused identity claims come in. And there's many reasons for that, but let's just keep it with the play because I can't psychoanalyze the whole reasons why.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
we do need to actually talk about that because I think that that's a very important component of the play itself. As anybody who is an artist in this industry, you get classified by phenotype. For instance, as a working actor in New York City, I would never be classified as someone who is Black indigenous because I don't fit a representation, a phenotypical representation of what Black indigenous is. However, clearly I am. I've only had, I think, one casting director say to me that he knew that I was Black indigenous. He could tell by my face that I was. And this was me, who was a very insightful man. However, we do have a lot of people who claim to be indigenous, who say they look indigenous, that go out for roles that are indigenous roles, and they are not indigenous whatsoever.
Yeah. And
I think we're very pigeonholed in the industry as far as representation is concerned, because there is no in-between space when it comes to the business, at all. You either look a certain way and that's the way it is. it's the onus is on us as artists to start writing stories that we know are true within our community about this intersectionality that actually occurs or exists within our community.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I got a lesson earlier, January. I can't pronounce her name, but anyway, she says,
Yakowine.
Yakowine. She says, I'm Mohawk. And I said, what, Six Nations? She said, no, I'm Mohawk. I said, okay. She says, I'm from the Eastern Door. I said, okay. I said, I didn't know there were two types of Mohawks.
Well,
yeah.
6 days, and so that's the nuance of identity. And we wouldn't, a person who is kind of firmly rooted in their indigenous identity wouldn't necessarily say, oh, I'm just Native. Well, no, you specify. You specify your land base, you specify your community, you might even specify your language, your dialect. And you get into it like that. And that way, there's no question,
right?
Who you are. So
I was on a bus years ago, and I had a friend of mine that was here visiting, and she was Cherokee, and we started speaking Cherokee to each other, right? And everybody turned around and looked at us and says, what are you guys speaking? I said, we're speaking our language. What language is that? I said, Jalagi. Well, what is Jalagi? I said, that's the white man's way of pronouncing. He couldn't pronounce our name, so he called us Cherokees. Oh, I said, okay. So you guys are still alive? Hell yeah, look at me. I'm just a very small representation of my people.
Right.
And Ramon is saying nothing. He's sitting back there being cool and smug. No, open your mouth.
Well, I don't know. I fall on kind of an unpopular part of it. So rather than say that right now, what I will say is I went to they have a whole weekend thing in different cities for Kenneth Copeland. And he's really literal about things so that you can't criticize him. What a lot of people don't know is Kenneth Copeland is like 75% Cherokee. Well, he decided he was going to speak in tongues. So he sits there and he starts speaking Cherokee. And I leaned over to my wife. I said, hey, honey, he's speaking Cherokee. And I look, and I was about 4 rows back. And he looked at me with those crystal blue eyes, and he heard what I said, and he looked at me and nodded his head and laughed.
Yeah, he was speaking in tongues. He was speaking in his native tongue.
Interesting. Very interesting. So I know where Yakowine is, but let's talk a little bit too about the how you cast this particular. Yay! How she is. There she is. Yay! So let's talk about. That's okay. That's okay.
It's really loud. So
that's okay. That's okay.
All right.
We need.
You are so pretty, sister.
So nice. Okay.
All
right. Let's go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about the festival itself and about your involvement in it, Yakowine, so that because I know you have to leave.
My involvement. Sorry, I can barely hear you. Well, I'm the. Oh, me or Janet?
You.
Okay.
You.
Okay. So I created it a few months ago. It's really a response to not having anything going on for Natives in New York City or in like New York State when it comes to like theater and our perspectives, like our contemporary perspectives, which can be told through theater and through our playwrights. And they were all really reflective of our community, our communities from the reservations to urban and rural spaces. And you know, ultimately it was like we're gonna do one or two plays and have like an art market, but I'm just kind of naturally an overachiever, and I was given a little bit of space, you know, a little bit of resources, and I just like maxed it out, put the call out to the community to submit. And at first it was low submissions, and I was like, oh, that's too bad. And then it started picking up, and it was like, you know, maybe like 6 submissions from playwrights. And I was like, I just told myself, you know what, like, let's just do it all. Let's do all of them. Our actors and our artists need a platform to be in practice and to both perform. So that's what we did. And it's just another way for the Native community to strengthen their ties in an urban space by working together in a space where it's all Native everything. And to start to build like a greater bond, like beyond social, you know, to have that trust that we could build things, and that, you know, if we work together, you know, that like our future is limitless if we just stick to that sort of like modus operandi, you know. That's basically how I do everything. Like right now, I'm the head coach for volleyball for Team Eastern Northern and North for the North American Indigenous Games next year, and I have to make cuts. I have 25 players, and I have to make cuts. I get to take 12 players, and I'm having a hard time with that. I'm like, can I just take more? You know, because we have very little opportunity. And the bit of opportunity that we do have as real natives is we're either being exploited, or our narratives are being co-opted, or we're being taken advantage of, or not compensated at a fair rate. And just like, I don't know, like sort of like being bossed around by people that, you know, like that might be a little bit pushy, which is disrespectful to a native on native land. You know what I mean? It's like, don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to her like that. Don't talk to us like that. You know, you're on native land, you know. So my plans are to continue to expand and build our own industry within industries, not just in theater, but in film. We're going to have a film festival coming up within the year. We're going to have a comedy feature where we bring in some comedians, local comedians, and hopefully something beyond, to really share our perspective here in New York City, because it's sort of like an epicenter of like global, I guess, community, that people that are here, they are usually transient, or they travel a lot, you know. So what they learn here, I want it to be clean and representative of us. You know what I mean? So every time I do something, I try to do the most so they can get the most perspective, and so they can start to understand, you know, from the Pretendians to, you know, to how bad, what was Drew Whitson's, how bad, you know, a Pretendian could treat, you know, natives in a theater space. Or I don't know, there's just too many storylines that are all connected, and that if anybody was lucky enough to see all of them and having no knowledge of native humor, or I guess how we socialize and who we are, this would have been the perfect opportunity for that. And there's no, how would you call it, mockery. There was no, like, you know, pink feathers and gold dip, you know, headdresses, or, you know, there was none of that pageantry. You know, it was real, it was contemporary, and it was us in community in one space. I wish we had a better turnout. We thank the unions for that. We weren't able to sell our tickets and market until later. It was our first time, I guess, doing actors equity, you know, being in union and doing their code. So that was difficult for us, and it's just another that sort of another system that sort of suppresses us. And it was like very material in this festival, because it had an impact on us. Like the system found its way to affect the outcome of our event. And that affected our ticket sales and marketing, because we weren't allowed to post anything or post tickets until we had that approval. We didn't get that until the Monday before. So like 3 days before. So, you know, it was like real life, real life hitting us. Go ahead.
Can I make you a promise? The next time that you do it, I will have you on and some of the people on that are part of it at least 3 or 4 times to make people more aware of what's going on. And the other thing too, I just got back from Boston day before yesterday. I was invited to come there and be the keynote speaker for Indigenous Peoples Day. One of the people says, well, how do you feel about Indigenous Peoples Day? I said, well, every day is Indigenous Peoples Day for me, because this is our land. We came from this. And you should have seen the people with looks on their faces. But President, I know what Joe Biden did. He changed it from Columbus Day and made it the federal holiday, Indigenous Peoples Day. And it's about time. So I think, you know, my cousin from New York, she was the first Native woman to be elected to the New York City Council. Her name was Vanessa Inaru Pastrano, and she was elected from the Bronx. And the whole time she was on that, she gave those white boys hell and told them, look, you need to get a grip, because this is our land. And that wall that they put up in New York, that was keep Indians out. No. Everything here is ours, and you need to learn how to respect us. So I just had to throw that in there, you know, because she's not one to play with. And she is now a personal friend of King Don Juan and Queen Sophia of Spain. And she's been communicating with them about Columbus Day. So now they are disavowing anything that Columbus did on this side of the Atlantic Ocean. They tried to build a statue of Columbus on Puerto Rico. And he said, no, shut it down. We're not having that, because this man is a liar and he's not an ambassador of goodwill to anybody. And he said he was the one that opened up the slave trade from here.
Let me look. I don't want to rush you through the story, Elder, but IAKOWI has to leave in a few minutes, and I kind of want to give her the opportunity to kind of send everybody to her Facebook page, any website that she has and stuff before she has to leave.
Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, my battery's getting low. If to find the organization, I would suggest going to Indigenous Center NY on Instagram, or North American Indigenous Center of New York on Facebook. And we have a website, and it's naicny.org. And we're a little bit slow to update. We're very low on capacity. We're grassroots, so we get there. But yeah, like if you ever see events, they'll be posted first on social media. If you see them, share them, attend them, support them, donate if you can. We're an organization that also has land back. For the past year and a half, we've acquired 25 acres of land that we're working on developing right now. And to grow food and have cooperative agriculture, to bring in urban community, both indigenous from South America and indigenous from here, to really create a bond together alongside Black women in a sort of matriarchal village setting. And that's like mid-state New York. So we're really working hard on that project, and always looking for funding and resources, or like real help, like people that could build things or like donate, you know, professional capacity in that way. But yeah, so we're like deep into that. but that's in the background until we like open things up and can publicly invite people in when it's ready. Um, Hopefully in the next year or so. But in the meantime, we'll be doing these events around Indigenous Peoples Day month. And for me, also, Indigenous Peoples Day is every day. I'm Native every day. So I walk it how I talk it. Like, there's no, like, this is how I am.
Yeah.
This is how I am in funders meetings. This is how I am in the streets, you know, in the village, you know, on the res. Like, it doesn't change. So
Yeah, Yakarina, can you give me, if you get a chance, before I will make sure, because the audience is asking if you could put it in the chat. I'll post all of the links in post, or I can post a few right now for our audience members. And also to let you all know that the Northeastern Native Arts Festival is still, I think, going on until next. I don't know how long it's going on, but I know that there is a show next Tuesday for sure. I'm not sure what the schedule is, but I think that you can go on there and look and find out what shows are presently being presented at the theater.
yeah. So I'll just share that really quickly. Then I got to get going. So on Saturday we will be at the Green Space, which is in Soho in Manhattan. We're having an event where there's a Native Made Market, which will feature a bunch of Native artists, and we'll have a food sovereignty workshop, and be making traditional strawberry drink and learning some teachings around the strawberry and what it means in and around the woodlands culture, and within the creation story, from a Haudenosaunee perspective. He's also going to be serving corn soup, corn that he actually grows from Mohawk corn, that he grows and processes, and we'll be selling that as well for the public. Sorry, I'm at the pool. I'm almost done. And then there's going to be storytelling by Perry Ground, who is an amazing storyteller from Onondaga Nation. He's going to come in and talk about also the creation story and just about trade and just like some traditional knowledge that we have as a people in the Northeast. And he's going to share that with the public. And then after that, we're having a traditional longhouse social. So there'll be a social dancing happening, but there will also be demonstrations of the smoke dance and other dances, so everybody can participate. And it's that one's by Chris Thomas. Chris Thomas is bringing in a little entourage and his daughter, so him and his family, and they'll be doing the social, and it's going to be really beautiful. It's going to be great. And it's a really good opportunity if you live in Manhattan or in Brooklyn to come check it out. And it's going to be just a beautiful experience. And that's another event that I produced and created and partnered with the Green Space. And then the same event, but more for family and small children, will be happening at Brooklyn Children Museum on Sunday and Monday. So there's going to be 4 push-ups, one set in the morning, one set in the afternoon, and the same thing on Monday. But the difference is the morning sessions will feature Ty DeVoe and his storytelling, and then the afternoon will feature Perry Ground and his storytelling, which will be different than the day before at the Green Space because it's for children, right? And the Brooklyn Children Museum is really beautiful. We'll be on the rooftop, and it's going to be like open air, and it's great. It's going to be a really rich experience for small kids, especially. And then the next day, on the day after Indigenous Peoples Day, on Tuesday, we'll be featuring Indian Country by Kylie Y. Turner. She's Wampanoag. She has a play Indian Country. And yeah, again, we'll be featuring our community members who are actors, and that will be at the Green Space on Tuesday, the 11th. Yeah.
Can
I know too much of everybody and everything. Like
so just to let you all know, they really do need your support, and I think that you need assistance too, because this is, you're in the beginning stages of this. So if you are an artist, an actor, and you would like to support in some way, do we contact you, directly, or your website, your information is on the website so that people can contact if they want to support?
Yeah, so we have forums on our website, and we have forums that we've also published on Instagram and on Facebook for a call out for vendors, a call out for artists, and a call out for just creatives, playwrights, and like people in film. And yeah, so we've had those call outs, and pretty much everybody that submitted was a part of it. I don't really turn people down. It's not that I I need things. It's that, you know, we need things. And I think, I don't know, like I'm doing this for our people. You know, I'm doing this for our art, for our culture to continue and to grow. And it's like cultural maintenance and sustainability, you know. So
I
that's
couldn't
really
agree
the
with you more.
driver for me.
I mean, I'm going to tell you that being a part of it was a very strong sense of community. And we got to network with people that, you know, are like-minded people. So it was a really wonderful experience and event. And I'm looking forward to what's coming for, you know, in the future.
So can I go online and send you a donation?
Can you go online and what?
And send you a donation, send you some money.
Oh yeah, there's a donate button on the front page of our website. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a GoFundMe. Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
You need to let us know how to go to GoFundMe. What is it that, you know, how do you do that?
Yeah, you said so. You have a link on the webpage itself, and you can go in and support through the GoFundMe. And Eddie Peterson said that you had him at Corn Soup, so I think that he'll be participating at some point.
I think attending the events though, because we sell tickets, and a lot. The reason why I would like to have things for free, but we don't have much funding, so we sell tickets. All of that ticket money goes towards compensating the artists and the capacity that, you know, the production team. So it's really important that, you know, even if maybe you can't make it, like buy a couple tickets and say, I bought 3 tickets, I want to donate it to a community member in the city that can attend. That's an idea. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
I love that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm getting
Yagoine.
out now though. I have like 4%. All right, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
We'll be in touch. Take care.
Wanagiwahe.
Chiki. So I'm very curious, January, then now that she's gone, I'm curious about what you think about the representation that we already have right now in film and theater, in particular with shows like Reservation Dogs and what is it? Something Falls?
Yeah, Rutherford
Falls. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about the representation in those?
Well, yeah, it's like it's the best it's ever been. It's the best it's ever been, and there's always room for more. You know, like when we talk about, like, if anyone is in the know and you bring up Native theater, well, the first thing they're going to talk about is Spider-Woman. You know, everybody seems to know about Spider-Woman, the history of Spider-Woman, how that Native, it was very, you know, Native owned, operated theater troupe came into being, and those were the grandmas. Though, you know, those are now the grandmas of Native theater. And what I see happening with Yagoine is, and the North American Indigenous Center of New York, is nothing less than historic, because it is, like I said earlier, it's a revival, and I couldn't be more happy to see this come into being. There, you know, Native, we're community oriented people as Native people, and we need the hub. Yeah, like we need the hub. We need the place to go to see each other face to face.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, more than anything, aside from the discovery of all this new, you know, theater talent that's coming out of the Native communities, finding community, building upon the community that's already there, and growing that community was the most important thing to me, and warmed my heart to see the old guard of the Native theater scene meet with the new guard of the Native theater scene. And to like, it was just, again, it was historical because I see this revival. And I was around when in the 80s, we had a burgeoning Native theater scene out of the Native Canadian Center of Toronto, Ontario. And, you know, there was a Thompson Highway, names like Thompson Highway, Daniel Moses, who was a man who from Six Nations who now has gone to spirit. They were getting Native play readings out of these centers, but then it all kind of like died down for some reason. And now we see it come back. So, you know, let's ride this wave together and ensure that, you know, it really does have a good run, a good long run beyond our lifetimes. It's, you know, this is a really important part of our storytelling traditions.
Yeah.
You know, we have it in our bloods, you know?
Yeah. And I also think that some of these of our Native actors that have made it, per se.
Yeah.
Come on, you guys, West Studi, get behind this.
Yeah.
You made more money as an actor, a Native actor, than all of us.
Yeah.
So, you know, you need to go into your pocket and write these people a check for $50,000.
There you go.
Just to help them get off the ground.
There you go.
And Native lawyers like Chase Iron Eyes. Yeah, I'm calling you guys out because I know you. You know, get some money together and help your brothers and sisters out. They're trying to do something positive for us. So pull that pen out of your pocket and get your wallet out, your checkbook. I don't care how you do it. Go online and give a donation to our people.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now that we've gone through all this stuff, and I will put everything in post, like I said, to everybody so that you can go and donate. If you are, as IAKOWI said, if you're not in the area, in the New York City area, you know, she would prefer that you buy tickets to support the artists that are actually presenting their work. And I am telling you all, it runs the gamut as far as what is presented there. It's not typical of what you see or what is being presented or produced on television. You're going to see all kinds of stories being wrote there, especially intersected stories, as she spoke about.
Yes.
So, you know,
that young lady has really stepped out on faith, and I gotta give it to her, you know.
Yeah, she really has. She really has. But anyway, so go ahead, Jay.
Mr. Grimaldi.
Yes, sir.
Wake up.
I'm not asleep.
What do you have to say about the positivity of what they're trying to do?
I'm all for it because I'm a person, well, I tend to see the glass 3/4 empty. And I have seen over the past dozen years or so how we in the Native community tear each other down before we build each other up. And that bothers me more than anything. So to see something positive, I'm all for it because God knows we need it.
Yeah. I found, generally speaking, the Native arts community is a generous community. Generally speaking. And I witnessed that over the weekend. We were there to support one another. If it wasn't our play on, then we stayed for the next play.
Yes.
That sort of thing. So, we believe in it. And of course, we need it.
And you know what? You need to make an appeal to all of these casinos that we have all throughout Indian country. You know, I can't see why they can't write checks for $10,000 to $20,000. Put it in their budget once a year. And support this effort. And not only that, but provide places for us to bring our plays.
That's the most important thing.
You know.
It's very healing and cathartic for us to write about our history, our pain, our joy, our community. It really is, and it was representative of of what we viewed last Saturday when we were there at the Northeastern Native Arts Festival. It was really an awesome, really time with one another.
Yeah. And, you know, there was opportunity for participation from Native directors.
Wow.
Yeah, opportunity for participation from, of course, you know, the playwrights and the dramaturge and of course the actors. And you got a good view of who's all part of that. It's, you know, part of that whole ecosystem. And again, that's another part of what I really, really enjoyed about being down there, as well as, you know, just being able, like, you know, they even said that during the festival, they said, look, we wanted to create these opportunities where the new playwrights can come and say, hey, my work was showcased in New York City.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, that kind of cachet that comes along with that. Yeah. So, which is very confidence boosting.
Absolutely.
And luckily right now, the Native theater community is not as cutthroat as the mainstream theater community, because in the mainstream theater community right now, there are only so many parts and so many stages to go around. So they'll cut each other's throat. At least we already know that it's even less. So if anybody gets it, we're all happy for them.
Right. And I hope that never changes. I hope that never changes about us, because I mean, we're that small, especially here in the East Coast, where we should not be doing that to each other. We should be really lifting each other up. You know, it is a different kind of community, and nobody can take that away from us, because it is our stories, it is our history, and there's nothing that nobody can recreate that except us. So,
you know, right here in Washington, D.C., we got a very large Native stage. The National Museum of the American Indian. They put on a few productions, little menial stuff. So would you all join hands with me, and we, you know, not call them out, but approach them and say, look, you're the Native Museum. You represent us. So why the hell can't you have one of our plays here with our playwrights and our actors and people like that? And I do know somebody that worked there, because he was at Wounded Knee. Paul Chat Smith.
I think honestly, I think that probably nobody's really approached them about it.
Well, I'm going to approach them. You know,
they have kind of made themselves unapproachable. I mean, I will say that much.
Yeah. But at the opening of that museum, I was the only Native broadcaster there. I was broadcasting nationwide and worldwide. So they owe me. And even if they don't owe me, I'm going to go there and make them feel guilty.
Oh my goodness. Well, then you can do that.
Yeah.
You definitely do that. Well, we have about 5 minutes left. January, I just want to know, you know, what you're doing now and how everybody can support you. And just to let you all know, the last time that January was on the show, she had a show that she was doing that is on YouTube right now called Indians on the airwaves. You all should please go check it out and support it. It is on, the full episodes are on YouTube right now. And I will also put that in post so that you can go check them out. It is funny, and it's about life on the res as a whole.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Okay. Yes, it's awesome comedy. It really is. I honestly think it's more true to life than res dogs. That's just me saying it, you know. But anyway,
well, I'll give you a little update about that, and you know, hopefully people will go. It's on the YouTube, Indians on the Airwaves, and so I'm in conversation with APTN, which is the Aboriginal People's Television Network, and they have the 10 episodes, and they're considering it for the Lumi, which is their digital broadcast. So it may end up on their digital channel, their streaming channel. Like I said, we're just having that conversation right now, but I'm really, really, thank you. I'm very, very impressed that, you know, that thing kind of came into being in a bit of a whirlwind too. But I'm sure enjoying all this script writing and this playwriting, man. Like, I'm really digging on that.
I'm going to call you January, because whatever I can do, just tell me. I'll do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I really appreciate you making this time to for us to talk about that festival, which is so important, and I know it's only going to grow. I really do. With Yegowine at the helm of things, oh, she's a doer. She Mohawk.
Awesome. She's
So
awesome. She's awesome.
Her Mohawk energy into that for
And
She's very focused. She's very focused.
And she don't take no for an answer.
Heck yeah.
No.
And she connected, she knows who to contact and all that stuff. But I'm gonna, have a conversation with her, because let's make that white man's line, that border that her territory kind of spans across. Let's make that work in our favor, because we have good arts funding up here in the occupied country of Canada. And I'm gonna hip her to what she can access to help with all of the center, the New York Center there.
Yeah, it is really she's got an awesome thing going right here, and it is going to be, I saw it and I already know the potential of it.
Right.
They owe this to us after what they did to our children in those boarding schools.
Yes, absolutely. We're coming for it.
Yeah.
Coming back for land too. Coming back for that too.
Oh, that's going on in South Dakota right now.
Right. Oh. Yeah, coming back for everything. Everything the enemy took from us.
Yeah.
Coming back for it.
Thanks to the folks who are saying they're subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. And do watch the episodes.
Watch it. Yeah, they're funny.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to Red Road East. Yeah. And God, I can't think of the other woman I saw.
Awinasa. She also she also subscribed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morena, Mr. Shim said, Dean, I'm kind of tripping at seeing some of the names that I haven't seen over the past few months. And it's good to see those names again.
Oh, yeah.
Hello to you all.
They missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we missed them too. And guess what? We're back.
Yeah.
So we have a minute out. Let's get some closing remarks. Thank you so much, January, for joining us. Thank you so much for coming and talking about the stage reading. It was such an honor for me to be a part of it, and I hope that we end up working together again.
I hope so too.
I can't wait to see, what comes of our connection, our relationship, and the community that we found ourselves a part of.
Yes.
This weekend, last weekend.
And if you got a part for an elder, the old man is here.
I know. We got to write you in, Jay. I know.
And that one too. And that one's sitting there.
Oh yeah, and Ramon.
Ramon. Just to let you all know too, just to remind everybody that we will be at the Native American History Museum in Washington, D.C. on Indigenous Peoples Day this coming Monday. Please come and join us from 2 to 5 o'clock. We have some really awesome speakers, some performers, and we're going to celebrate. And by the way, if you are watching this show, trust me, everybody's Indigenous. As long as you have that blood in you, you are Indigenous. So whatever you have been labeled phenotypically, stereotypically, or racially, that does not exist on this day. Come and honor your ancestors.
There you go. And a lot of people will be surprised when I call a name. Do you remember the actor Woody Strode? He was a native.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the phenotype was, he's just a black guy. No. He was a great native performer.
Yeah.
Human being.
Yeah. There's so many people. Maybe we'll do a show on that, on how many people were natives that we were labeled by the census as black. That's a whole nother story that we can talk about. But anyway,
Jay and I did an hour on our former radio station. We did an hour, a little over, and the phones didn't stop ringing for a week. All the singers and musicians that everybody thought was black, and they weren't.
Yeah. We can go into a whole new story. Maybe we'll talk about that in the next coming weeks. So stay tuned. We'll be back to talk about that. But anyway, Elder, would you like to have any closing thoughts for the evening? And thank you, Ramon. Thank you, January. January, please stay on in the broadcast. I have something to ask you, so don't leave.
I have just to say, anyone that's trying to get in touch with me, I'm getting ready to commit suicide. You could write me at Jay Winter Nightwolf cherokee@gmail.com. I'd love to talk to you. My grandfather, on my Cherokee side, when we went down to spend summers with them, he would always look at us while we were playing. And he had built this big bench around this big oak tree. And he would look at us while we were playing. You boys, come here. What is it, Grandpa? Do you know what it's all about? No. I'm going to tell you. It's not about the pigmentation of your skin or the color of your eyes or the texture of your hair. It's not about the clothes you wear. It's not about your ceremonies. It's not about your traditions or your cultures. You would say, do you know what it's all about? And then the youngest one of us, Mikey, my cousin, would say, no, Grandpa, what is it all about? He would stand up, put his right hand over his heart, and he would say, it's how you treat my heart. That's what it's all about. So all of you viewing us tonight, start thinking about, we are family, all of us. And we are a big part of that human family. When I was in Boston a few days ago, I stayed with a couple. The wife is from Sweden. The husband is from England. I had an opportunity to face off with them, talk to them, and they took me everywhere. So I only have one thing to say about that family, because they're now my family. Sure, they're European, but you can't find a racist bone in their bodies anyway. So it's not about the color of your skin. None of that. It's how you treat my heart. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I love you all of you. Even those of you that make it impossible to love. I love you anyway, in spite of yourselves. Talk to you again next week. I'm Jay Winter Nightwolf. I'm out.